Hello everyone, good morning. In today's lecture, we are going to see concept time number 5, which is irrigation. This is the fourth step in the crop production. It begins once the seeds are sown and continues until the plants are mature and ready for the harvest. This is the longest period that when the seeds are sown, then we will start the irrigation process. Until we harvest the crop, it will be continued. So this is the fourth step. What the controlled supply of water to crop at different level is irrigation. What is irrigation? There is a supply of water at the for crop at the different levels or different interval is called irrigation. Surface water from rivers, lakes, ponds and canals is used for irrigation crops. Underground water is also sometimes pulled up by the farmers using wells and tube wells. The process of irrigation becomes when the seeds are sown and continues until the crop is harvested. The frequency of irrigation varies from crop to crop. जो वाटर इरिगेशन मतलब कि वाटर का सप्लाई करना और सरफेस वाटर रिवर में लेक पॉन्ड कैनल सभी चीज़ से आते हैं वो इरिगेशन में यूज़ होते हैं एंड अदर देन अंडरग्राउंड वाटर इज़ ऑल्सो यूज्ड बाय फार्मर्स like wells and tube wells. They will also use this also for irrigation, and this process is once I already told that it is started, it begins at the seeds are sown and it is continued till the crop needs to be harvested. And the irrigation process will vary from each other. From crop, if we use another crop, wheat, and the irrigation will be process will be different from the paddy. Why? We know that all the living beings need to survive. Seeds cannot germinate without absorbing water. Hence, irrigation begins once the seeds are sown. Plants need water to grow and perform photosynthesis. They also absorb nutrition from the soil which are dissolved in water. So, when irrigation, why we need to do irrigation? We all know that all the living beings need water to survive, right? We need water, plants need water, so for the growth, they need water. And seeds cannot germinate, they will not grow, seeds will not grow until they absorb water, and then they will absorb water, and then seeds are seeds will grow. So plants also need water and they will then perform photosynthesis, and all the nutrients are absorbed from the soil through which is now water dissolved in water. All the nutrition will dissolve in water which is present in the soil. How we will do that? Traditional system and modern system. There are two types of system. Traditional system in India, there are many traditional irrigation system: mode, chain system, Delhi and Rahat. All the systems requires a lot of effort by farmer or animals to lift water from wells and canals to bring it to the field. They are cheap but very not efficient. There is a traditional system of irrigation which is mode, chain system, Dekli and Rahat. These are the systems which are used by the farmers, and in that they have to lift all the water from the wells or canals and bring it to the field, and they have to do it their own. That is cheap but it will not be efficient, it will take a lot of time. And in modern system, some more farmers are now opting modern methods such as sprinkler or drip system. They are fast and efficient. Once they set up, they do not require human or animal effort. एक बार इंस्टॉल होने के बाद we don't need animals or other people to do the thing after. That are sprinklers and drip system. You have seen the sprinklers in our school ground, the play area. There were sprinklers which waters the grass everywhere in afternoon time. I think you have seen noticed that water sprays out from rotating nozzle along the perpendicular pipes. It mimics rainfall and can sometimes lead water to the wastage, because sometimes you have seen the sprinkler is rotating, it has to reach the end part of the ground, but that distance is more, so they will get on the floor also near the entrance point. You have seen sometime it's wet, right? So it will get wastage of water, but it mimics like it is falling rain. And second is drip system. Water falls drop by drop through the pipe. It exactly falls on the plant. No water is wasted. So this is a dripping system in which water will drop by drop and on the direct on the plant. This is about irrigation. Now concept time number 6, which is removal of weeds. The fifth step in the crop production, it begins once the seeds has grown into seedling and continue until the plants are mature and ready for the harvest. What is this? Why it is done and how it is done? What is this? Because weeds are the extra plants that will grow in the besides the crop, and removal of weeds is called weeding. Because why we need to remove these weeds from the plant? Because they will compete the space of the crop, they will absorb water from the and sunlight and nutrition, but they are not useful anyways. So we will remove them, so they all the other growth of the crop may require water, sunlight, nutrition will be enough for them. We have to already remove them, then why should they use all the water and sunlight? There will be less for the grown crop already what we needed, so we remove them. And how we remove that? The best time to remove weed is to before they flower and produce seeds. uh, they started growing, and when they produce seeds or flower, before they produce that, we should remove that, so they should not spread further. And farmers will keep an eye on them every each and time, and when they saw the weeds, they will remove it with the hand or pluck it out. They can manually uprooted or remove using a called खुरपी. खुरपी से रिमूव सकते हैं, हॉ सोई ड्रिल उससे भी वीड रिमूव कर सकते हैं, अगर मैन्युअली अपरूट लीव्स को खींच के रूट्स में से बाहर निकाल देते हैं. And another way is also by using weedicides. These are the chemicals to kill the weeds. They will dilute this in the water and spray it in the field. And last is harvesting and storage. These are the two types of process of crop cultivation. For that, what harvesting is the cutting of crop and they are mature. Cereal crops like rice and wheat take 3 or 4 months to mature to harvest. And harvesting is usually done by uprooting the plants or cutting it close to its base. Once the crops for cereals is harvested, the grains need to separate it from the chaff before storing or selling into market. So what is harvesting and storage? What is harvesting? Harvesting means when the plants are grown after 3 4 months. It depends on the growth of the plant that how it will grow. All the crops have different timing. So after mostly like rice and wheat we grow, then it will take 3 to 4 months, then we have to harvest it. And harvesting is mostly done by pulling out the roots from the soil, or other ways is cutting the plant near to the ground. And once the crops for cereals is harvested, then they will have to differentiate the separate the chaff and from the grains. Like grains is grown on some parts, no, so they have to separate grain and that part of the plant before storing or selling it to someone. And how will do that? Crops can be harvested manually by using a tool called sickle. Machines called harvester can do this job a lot more efficient and quickly. Once the crop is harvested, the grain is separated using threshing or winnowing, which we already learned in class 6. A machine called combine harvester can harvest and thresh the crop simultaneously. So how we will harvest? By I already told, by cutting or uprooting the plant, and that is done by a tool called sickle. It's I will show you what is sickle. I can draw here. It's like this shape. Here it is, in which we have to This side is sharp, so that will go. This is what is sickle is. So, and there are also machines called harvester, and there is another machine of harvester and thresh. They will what harvester will do, that will directly cut the crop and store it, and it is very quick. And harvester and thresh, that what we will do, that will do harvest the crop as well as thresh the crop simultaneously. It will differentiate the chaff and crop grains each other. So that and you already know that when the crop is harvested, then by the process of threshing or winnowing, we differentiate the chaff and grain, right? And last is storage. Once the crop has been harvested, the grain separated from the chaff, the produce can be sold in the market. If it is not being sold immediately, it need to be carefully stored. If it is not properly stored, it can get spoiled due to microorganism, insect or rats. Hence, farmers take great dry care to dry the grains in the sun and then store them properly in the jute bags or metallic bins. You have already known the storage. It is already how to store it. Crops have harvested, then they will be differentiated from the chaff and grain, and then they will be sold in the market. If it is not sold, they will dry it out and make it safe from the bacteria and rats, and then farmers will take care of the grains, and they will store them in the jute bags and metallic beans. Jute bags are ઘઉંની ગુણો આવે છે એ વાળી, અને મેટેલિક બીન્સ મીન્સ લોખંડના પતરાના ખાના આવે છે, ટીપડા. In Gujarati it is called ટીપડા. So they will store them in it. So that's it. Drying the grains is essential for the removal of moisture. If the grains have moisture in them, they can spoil very quickly and easily. For large scale storage, silos or grainers are used. Okay, drying before storing. If grains are wet, then they have to remove the moisture, so they have to dry. And drying is an essential part because it will if the grains have moisture, then they will get rotten easily. They will get spoiled very easily. So they have to get dried before storing. So here we are at the end of this chapter of biology unit 1, crop production and management. Okay, so in today's homework what you will write is removal of weed and harvesting and storage. You will write this concept time number 6 and 7. Concept time 6 and 7 you will write as an homework and send it to me before 2 p.m. and I will send PDF as soon as I recover my tab, and then you will write all this practice question. I will explain it and then you will write in the notebook. And if you all have any doubts, please feel free to call. Once again, I will do the quick revision of irrigation. Irrigation is the fourth step of crop production, and this is started when the seeds are sown, and it will continue when we need to harvest the plant. And this is control supply of water is known as an irrigation at different types, and rivers, lakes, ponds, these are all used. And wells and tube wells are used for watering the plants or crops. This is used in irrigation process. And weeds and seeds are sown. When seeds are sown, then until the harvest, the irrigation process will begin, and the irrigation process will vary from crop to crop. And why we need to this is because seeds will not start growing until they get water, and then they will perform, all the plants needs water to grow, and they perform photosynthesis, and then they will absorb all the nutrition from the soil. And how this is done, two system, traditional system which is of mode, chain system, Dakli and Rahat, but these are very cheap but not very essential because they have to lift the water from the wells, and through animals or human itself they will lift the water from the wells, and then they have to bring it to the field. And in modern system there are sprinklers and drip system. Sprinkler is a rotating nozzle that is spread over the crops, and drip system is drop by drop water is falling on the plant through a pipe, and in that no water is wasted. Weed is the removal of extra plant that is not need to be grown, so that is removed by removing the weeds from its root, or there are some fertilizers which will also remove the weeds. And last is harvesting and storage. Harvesting is what cutting of crops when they are mature, like rice and wheat. They take 3 or 4 months to mature, and then we cut it down or pull it up from the roots. And then cereals and is harvested, and then grains and the chaff, the extra part of the plant, the grains and chaff will be separated and then stored, or then it will be sell in the market. And for this we use a tool called sickle for hand harvesting, and other is the harvester machine or combine harvester machine, which will directly harvest and thresh the crop simultaneously. And then we will store, and before storing we will remove the moisture of the plant so it not may get directly spoiled. And the farmers will try to keep safe this all the grains from the insects and rats, so they will take care of the grain and then store them properly in a jute bags or metallic bins. So this was the quick revision of today's lecture, and in homework you have to send me harvesting and storage and removal of weeds, and together also send me the irrigation. So what we did in today's lecture about irrigation, uh, then removal of weeds and harvesting and storage, all these three concept time you need to write summary, you need to write summary of this, and then send it to me. Thank you all, have a very nice day.